one new gold stock making big headlines since its start last April, acquiring gold for $5 to $10 per ounce in the ground, which is dramatically lower than the $50 to $100 per ounce in the ground other companies have been paying. To learn more about what hard asset investors are calling a mineral bank, visit futuremoneytrends.com/investright. Greetings and thank you for joining us at futuremoneytrends.com. I have a great guest today. It's one of our favorites, Jeff Berwick of thedollarvigilante.com. I first got to meet him in person at a conference a few years ago, the Liberty Symposium in Vegas. He's got a great story when it comes to making literally hundreds of millions, watching it basically vanish, and then, of course, making many, many millions again through business building. Also, libertarian anarchist. This is a great interview for you. We will also touch a little bit on parenting with a libertarian or anarchist philosophy. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
Well, Jeff, let's start off with Brexit. You've traveled all around the world. You talk to major insiders. You do a lot of research through Dollar Vigilante. What are you telling your members about Brexit right now? Is this kind of like a Bear Stearns moment, where it's not the thing that's going to, send us into the next crisis, but perhaps it could be the beginning of something that will unfold over the next year?
Yeah, Brexit was quite surprising to me. What I had been predicting for this year, and we've been pretty much dead right on most of it, is that there's going to be a lot of chaos. There's going to be a lot of things changing. There's going to be massive volatility. There's going to be things happening this year that I don't think anyone even expects. And you could say Brexit would have been one of them. But after it happened, and I watched this thing very closely because I've watched many of these in the past. Of course, I believe in total secession. I always say, if at first you don't secede, try again. And so I watched the Scottish referendum, and there was so much evidence of them vote rigging and all sorts of things. And so I was expecting them to do that again this time, because I figured that the elites, and actually I was just at Bilderberg in Germany, where a lot of them were meeting in Germany and Europe because of this, I believe. And I was thinking, well, the globalists really want one world government, and you would think the European Union would just be one step towards that, and so they wouldn't want it to essentially fall apart. But at the same time, I also knew that in order to bring in their one world government, one world currency, one world taxation system that they're working on, that they're going to have to cause a massive amount of chaos. And I predicted that would happen this year. So when Brexit, I was sitting there like many people watching it, and it started off with the votes, and it looked like Remain was going to win at the beginning. And I was like, here we go again. And I was starting to hear about a few little weird things going on. I'm like, okay, they're going to rig it again. But then all of a sudden, it started to come through for Brexit. And right in that moment, I was like, well, this can't be happening without a reason. I think it was one of the biggest terrorists of all time, FDR, who said that nothing in politics happens by coincidence. And all of these things are planned. And then I quickly looked back upon it, and I realized that they essentially want to do this. So what I've said to my subscribers, or what I've said to others, is they essentially want to, they're realizing there's an uprising going on. They're absolutely realizing it. And actually, I was at Bilderberg this year, and most of the headlines of anyone who reported about it said it was the most nervous Bilderberg ever. And actually, I couldn't get anywhere near the place. I was constantly arrested. I was constantly interrogated. They were coming up to my room, searching through everything I had, the police. And I'm not even a real sort of what you would call a journalist. I was there with some journalists like Dan Dix of Press for Truth, and Luke Rudowski of We Are Change, and Lauren Southern of Rebel Media. But I was just there out of curiosity, for the most part, just to see what's going on. And I was accosted. So they really were very nervous this year. And they can tell that there's like an uprising going on. People are starting to wake up to what's happening, and they're getting worried. So I think what they've decided to do was allow Brexit to go through. And through that, they're going to cause all sorts of other chaos, essentially make the whole European Union probably collapse, and then make it so bad that they'll put in some other sort of structure that'll be even worse, and people will actually beg for it. That's what they always try to do. So that's generally what I'm thinking. Of course, I can't be 100% sure on that, but from all my research for decades now and what they do all the time, that appears to be what they have decided to do on this time around. It's interesting as well. A lot of people say, "Oh, this Brexit, just the fact that England has removed themselves from this horrible fascist technocracy that is completely undemocratic, that this is going to collapse the markets." Well, if you think about that, that makes absolutely no sense. How could some people on an island somewhere just say, "We don't want to be ruled by you guys that much anymore. We'd rather just sort of have people closer to us, other criminals that are closer to us, rule us"? How does that collapse the entire global economy? It doesn't. That's the fear that they're trying to put into people. In fact, there's nothing better for Britain than what happened. It's better in every single way. They're not going to be under the literally millions of regulations from the EU. They'll have much freer trade. And I always say free trade exists up to and until a free trade agreement is enacted. And that's what all the propaganda they try to put out. Free trade is just people trading. A free trade agreement would never be longer than one sentence. It would say these two countries agree that the people in those countries can trade freely with each other. They'd be one sentence long. Of course, what they have with the TPP and all the other ones are literally phone books of regulations, taxes, tariffs. It's the opposite of free trade. Just like Orwell, pretty much everything is named the opposite of what it is now, including the Patriot Act and things like that, which interestingly enough was written, the Patriot Act, in just a few days. And then just a few days after Brexit, they'd already had a big plan to essentially make the EU into a super state. So there's all sorts of craziness going on. But in terms of the Brexit vote itself, having the capability to destroy the economy and the markets everywhere in the world, absolutely not. There's absolutely, if anything, like I said, it actually improves things a little bit, at least for people in Britain. But they're going to cause all sorts of chaos and volatility. And of course, investors don't like when things aren't for sure, and nothing in life is for sure. So that's kind of a stupid thing that they want. But they like it when things look a little bit more sure. And that's one case you can make for why the markets could be a little bit unraveled a little bit, is because people don't know what's going on. But in general, I think Brexit was great, and I hope everyone succeeds. I hope every country in Europe succeeds. I hope every state and every country succeeds. I hope the U.S. goes back to 50 states. Then I hope every city succeeds, and I hope we eventually end up with 7 billion sovereign governments on Earth, and we'll have peace and prosperity like we've never known it.
I like what you just said. I'm going to pan my cell phone. I don't know if you might appreciate this. If I can, I don't know if you can see that sign I have over my door, but it says, "This is my family, this is my country." And what it means is, this is my family, and the 5 people here, this is my country. But so we've certainly seceded. Did you say, you had broken up for a second, did you say you were arrested at Bilderberg?
Yeah, I don't know if that's the correct term. I was definitely detained numerous times, and I couldn't leave. I guess probably I wasn't quite arrested. They didn't charge me with anything. But pretty much Dan Dix of Press for Truth, he was pretty much detained the entire time we were there. On one day, he was detained 10 times. They just basically come up, say they know who we are, and that we're trying to tell people what's happening at Bilderberg, and they're going to keep us away from it by any means necessary. And even said, one cop who was really just kind of crazy was saying, "Oh, you're going to get hurt. I'm going to physically, this could be really bad if you stay around here." And we stood up to them, and but yeah, they were it was the most strict, most nervous, most paranoid Bilderberg by far this year. They wouldn't let anyone near it. Someone held up, they had a rule, they can't hold up a sign anywhere near where the Bilderberg conference was. And someone held up a sign saying, I forget what it says exactly. It was something like, "This is a cardboard sign," was written on it. And they were arrested. And actually, one of them was beat up a little bit by the cops. So yeah, they were very nervous. The elites are getting very nervous, and they're realizing they're losing, actually. But the war is not over. It's just a small battle that has sort of been won with Brexit, and I think they even let it happen for reasons that I said earlier.
Yeah, certainly with them controlling our markets with manipulation, and I mean absolute control of the markets, they can use this vote to totally turn against the people. Like, see, you tried to vote independence, and look what you screwed yourself. Clinton today, the FBI basically said that she did break the law, but they were not going to recommend charges. Now, I've always been told, whether it's an IRS audit or anything else in life, that ignorance is not a defense. That you cannot say, "I didn't know it was against the law," and it's not going to help you. But here, Clinton, I can't say I'm surprised, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not at all. given her influence and her importance in with the oligarchs. But do you think this will have any effect on the election, or it really isn't going to matter because the media is going to bury it anyway?
Well, I predicted quite a while ago, and this is even after Trump was already nominated, that Hillary Clinton, or Hillary as I call her, will be the next president of the U.S. I predicted that for a number of reasons, and one of them is that at Bilderberg, there was at least 5 people who are very connected to Hillary that were at Bilderberg, and that's essentially where they select. It's not elections, that's where they select the next president. Barack Obama was there before he got elected, Bill Clinton, many others. And Trump definitely wasn't invited, so she's probably going, or I can't imagine any way she's not the next president. And the other way to look at it too, and this is something that I haven't heard many people say, is if you look at Barack Obama, why did he get elected? Well, he's black. This is hope and change. Now we're going to change everything. He's half black. And so what's going to happen now? Well, she's a woman. So this changes everything. And so when you think about it, this is pretty obvious. Half the people in the U.S. are women. Last time, almost any black person voted for Barack Obama. And so you can just imagine what's going to happen this time, especially with that's why they're doing a lot of this feminist stuff. They want to get that. If you've noticed, they actually put so many women into places of power now, because what happened was most of the people started realizing, hey, all this giant government, the IMF, the World Bank, the Federal Reserve, they're all run by men and they're destroying the world. So the elite said, well, let's put women in all them, and then maybe we'll bump up feminism quite a bit. And so then maybe we'll get a few more years where people won't really realize, what's going on, and they'll kind of lay off us a bit. So if you look, most of the defense ministers in Europe now are all women. A lot of presidents now are women. Angela Merkel, of course. You look at the Federal Reserve is Janet Yellen. The IMF is Christine Lagarde. So they're trying to put women in all these places now and try to pump up this propaganda that, the problem in the past was, it wasn't giant government and central banks. No, it was just the people running them were men. So now that they're all women, and they got people so propagandized, a lot of people actually think this is good. So in those terms, I don't see, I think there's Hillary's a lock, which is actually so hilarious when you think about in the U.S., the land of the free, where they believe so much in the very anti-freedom democracy, that if you look at Hillary Clinton when she goes to her campaign trail things, she literally is in a room with about 20 people, and they're usually just some press who are always there just to put out the propaganda, maybe a few people she knows. And then you look at Bernie Sanders and he fills like entire stadiums, Donald Trump entire stadiums, even before Ron Paul, and he filled entire stadiums. Nothing, they're just washed away. And who's probably going to win? Hillary Clinton. Like, if people in the US still haven't woken up to this whole shenanigan, this whole parade of democracy and land of the free, which it isn't, and home of the brave, which it definitely isn't, how much more do you need to see to realize what's going on? So it's going to be interesting. As far as her getting off from the FBI, that's obvious. She owns so many of those people. The person who runs the FBI is like her good friend. They actually met a week or so ago. It's just clear. And I just find it weird, though. Of all the things that Hillary Clinton's done, and who knows how many people she knows who have gone against her, who have mysteriously died, including just last week, a guy was lifting weights, crushed his own throat with his weights before he was going to testify against Hillary at the UN. Like, she's had so many people killed, and she has obviously destroyed and killed. Her actions have led to the destruction and death of, I would say, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, if you just look at Libya alone, where she had Muammar Gaddafi essentially raped with a pipe and killed in broad daylight on video while she cackled away. I don't know if you ever saw that video where she said, yeah, we came, we saw, he died, and she starts clapping her hands like why isn't anyone talking about that? She's obviously a massive criminal, massive war criminal, massive murderer. She's been in charge of the State Department, which has been in charge of murdering and killing hundreds of thousands or millions of people. Why are people like, well, we got her now, she had an email server at her home, and the people are so deluded to even focus on that, and to think that for some reason that they're going to put her in jail for that when she and her people and all of them, they're all in the same team, Obama and Hillary and everybody, and even Trump to an extent. It's obvious she wasn't going to be, but it's going to be interesting. This is definitely going to be a hot summer in the U.S. There's all there was I think it was WikiLeaks or someone put out some data showing, I think it was Black Lives Matter or something like that, had a plan to make the Trump rallies so chaotic to bring in martial law this summer. So they're planning all sorts of crazy stuff's going on around this thing. So it's going to be interesting what happens. But I think at the end, unless some miracle happens, that Hillary will probably be the next president, and that is going to be. It's just like in Rome where they say, "Oh, the next one, hopefully the next one's better," and it's always worse, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. Yeah. I can't imagine anything worse than Hillary Clinton as president of the U.S. As bad as Obama is, as bad as George W. Bush was, as bad as Bill Clinton, as bad as just keep going back. I can't imagine anyone worse than her. She is just a sociopath, evil, criminal person.
Yeah, I mean, no real qualifications for any of these people, Obama or Hillary. I mean, really, they've accomplished nothing in life. And as you know, Hillary Clinton, if she kills enough people while being president, she'll even get a massive monument, maybe one just as big as FDR's. Gold. We're running low on time for our interview, so gold. You talk to a lot of insiders. Are you starting to get? I'm not encouraged, but is it time to almost kind of start to get greedy and start to really back up the truck with these gold stocks right now?
That's a good question. Our senior analyst at Bugos at the Dollar Vigilante he's sort of 50-50 on it. He's sort of expecting somewhat of a summer lull, which might be a pullback. They have had an amazing year so far, obviously. But there's so many dynamics going on, it's hard to say. I would say that definitely if you weren't buying gold stocks already, and hopefully you're buying months ago, but if you weren't, you should definitely be starting to look into it. This is gold's going to go higher, silver is going higher even as we speak, and that's not going to stop because the U.S. dollar is going to go much, much lower. The U.S. dollar just finally entered into a bear market, which could be the final bear market for the U.S. dollar. So yeah, absolutely. It's either you might want to be a little careful over the summer months just in case. Maybe just don't buy your full allocation, but definitely it's a huge bull market in my opinion that has just began again after about a 4 or 5 year almost short-term bear market after the real bull market started around 2001, 2002, which is nowhere near reached its peak. It's not even close. I think we're still on the first or second inning of all of this. So absolutely, people should be looking at it.
Jeff, last time we talked about parenting, and a subscriber had a great question. What about when a child is absolutely defiant? Hey, we're going to a restaurant, we need to get in the car. Child says no.
Yeah, your question is because we talked so much about peaceful parenting in the past and unschooling and things like that. And so I've heard that a lot from some people, and they say, well, what about, and here's a person who has a child like that. What I would say to that person is there's a reason your child is like that. And it's probably because you didn't do any of those peaceful parenting and unschooling type things in the past. And they are really, really not happy about it. And they are trying to show you they are not happy about it. And actually, I'd like to meet your child. He's my kind of person. He's like, no, I'm not going to go wherever you tell me. And if I do something you don't like and you hit me, I don't like it. So I think this person needs to really think about what they've done in the past, what kind of environment they're around too. If they have an environment that's just constantly with people fighting, perhaps he has a problem with his wife or something. I don't know. I'm just guessing. And maybe they're fighting a lot. The child sees that. They hear that. It actually affects them, and it makes them act very not in good ways. And so if the child is acting that way, it's highly, highly, highly unlikely that the child has a problem. The problem is likely its environment and all of its past experiences. And I don't mean to say I don't know if it's a he or she, but all their past experiences. Sure. So you have to think about that really deeply, and also just try what I've been saying. So if you say, get in the car, and he doesn't get in the car, then go, oh, you don't want to get in the car? And he'll go, no. And then you ask him why, and he'll tell you and actually listen to his reason and talk it out with him. And at the end, if you don't force him to get in the car and you go, well, that was a pretty good reason, okay, yeah, stay here. And the kid will go, oh, now we have a relationship. Now we can move forward. So that's what I would suggest to this person based on the very limited information that you gave me.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's every time around parents feel like they still don't understand what I'm doing because, so many parents saying no or trying to they run around trying to manage these kids They can't do something. They can't go offline or something. It's constantly trying to micromanage. And I think, if the listener is listening to this conversation, a lot of times I think the parents have to ask themselves, why are they or why are they trying to micromanage? Because I think that probably also adds, you're saying, the defiance. But hey, I really appreciate the conversation. Hopefully we can have on as a regular guest every month. Jeff Berwick, Dollar Vigilante, has been very generous with his time. Very, very unique story. If this is the first time you're listening, writing and it's out there, please subscribe. I mean, this is the real deal. This guy's close friends, all the top insiders. When these conferences, I would even say that Doug Casey, a personal friend of yours, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeff?
Yeah, you're breaking up on me, but just so you know, I can send you the good audio afterwards. Sorry? You're breaking up on me too, but I'm recording on my end, so I can send you the good audio. You can edit it.
All right. Wait, thank you everybody for listening. And again, Dollar Vigilante. Appreciate it.
Thank you.